Hello everyone, I'm Travis Swan. Welcome to Tommy Media's The Locker Room. The 22nd ranked St. Thomas football team will host Gustavus this Saturday in its final game of the regular season. Offensive lineman Ulice Payne III, who started in the 83-7 rout over Carleton last weekend, helps create the running lanes up front for the highest scoring team in the MIAC. Defensive lineman Sam Pokornowski anchors a unit that hasn't allowed a 100-yard rusher since St. Thomas's Week 7 win over Hamlin University. I'm joined today by Coach Glenn Caruso, Ulice Payne, and Sam Pokornowski. Thank you for joining us.
Good to be here.
Thank you for having us.
Coach, the Tommy offense averages more than 500 yards per game, the most of any team in the MIAC. What has contributed to the offense putting up big numbers week after week?
A lot of different guys touching the ball. I think that's great. You know, we have more guys that are actually rushing the ball and catching the ball than we ever have. And we've been able to do it with a lot of different guys at the quarterback position, wide receiver position, but at the end of the day, it's kind of the two stalwarts on both sides of the ball. Usually start with the offensive line, obviously is represented today by Sammy and Ulice, and that really gives us our foundation and our base, whether it's running the ball effectively or our pass protection, which has been very good this year. That's how we're able to keep that balance. And within that, however many yards we have, we've got really nice balance, which we're happy with.
And Ulice, Saturday's game against Gustavus will most likely be the last time you play a home game for the Tommies. What does that mean to you, and how important is it to the senior class to go out with a win?
I think it's incredibly important, not just for the seniors, but to the rest of the team, as we owe it to them to give it everything we've got with these 4 years here, just to play with heart, to play with passion, to play the game that's meant to be played.
Coach, St. Thomas and Gustavus are the two highest scoring teams in the MIAC. Could this weekend's game turn into an offensive shootout, and is that something the offense is prepared for?
Could it? Yes. Is the offense prepared for it if need be, if that's the way the game has to go? Do we necessarily want that? No. That's not what we're looking for. But what I love about each game is it's always different. Certainly the team that comes in, Gustavus, tremendously high-powered, tons of numbers and tons of athletes, and they do a good job getting the ball to their different receivers. So whatever the game calls for, we try and figure it out throughout the game. And if it has to be a game where it has to be more plotty and tactical and field position, we've shown in the past we can win games like that. And then if it has to be a third, fourth quarter shootout, as it has been a couple times the last few weeks, and we've shown that we can win that way. I've said on this show and many times publicly that a dynamic team is not one that has a lot of great talent necessarily. A dynamic team is one that finds a lot of different ways to win football games, and that's what we strive to be.
And Sam, from a defensive standpoint, what does your defensive line need to do to shut down this Gustavus offense, and specifically their air attack?
Well, we need to make them one-dimensional, stop the running game, and then once we do that, we got to get after the quarterback, make him pressure him, and then hope to make some bad throws and take care of it from there.
Thank you. And now it's time for this week's fan question. Coach, Senior Becca Snee wants to know, what were the worst weather conditions you've ever coached in, and how might conditions change the desired game plan?
Awesome question. I'll answer it in inverse order. It's certainly, I don't know how it's going to change the other team's game plan. That's not my job. But usually when you think bad weather, it falls into one of two categories. There's the windy, sleety, rainy type weather, and then there's the cold weather. And we're fortunate enough that our systems have been built. The goal is to obviously play a nice, long, regular season, and then if you do your job and do it well enough and get selected, you're going to be having to play some games in December, and we played a lot of games in December, and obviously we're in Minnesota. So we've built our system around being able to win those games in the cold weather. It's probably less of a departure from our normal game plan to have to change it in the cold weather than it is the slick weather, the high winds and the rain. So it will change a little bit, probably not markedly. We'll still try and be as balanced as possible in a pressure defense as we have been and be very sound. But this will probably rank up there, maybe in the top 10, but we played in a lot. I mean, I think back to round one of the 2011 playoffs here at home versus Scholastica, where Roger Weinbrenner and the rest of the grounds crew had to be snow blowing the lines. Probably the straight out coldest one, guys, might have been Whitewater a couple of years ago, where it was pretty bad. And then I'll tell you what, the most surprising one was probably the national championship, where you get on a plane, you fly halfway across the country. It's beautiful for the 3 days you're there, and then you run out and it's 32 degrees at kickoff time. Now, if it was 32 degrees here at the 17th of December, it's all relative. It would have been warm, but down there, I think we expected it to be a little bit warmer.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
If you have a question, tweet it to @TommyMedia. Thanks for joining us. Be sure to check Tommy Media for the latest campus news. With Coach Caruso, Ulice Payne III, and Sam Pokornowski, I'm Travis Swan. We'll see you next time in The Locker Room.